whispers flying round on broken wings, deafening. But I hide my head from the sound. So tired of listening. I let my mind just drift away with perfect thoughts left ignored. But now I'm begging you to stay. I secretly break all of the rules. I silently wait for you. I secretly break all of the rules. Silently wait for you. So many whispers flying round on broken wings, deafening. But I have my head from the sound. So tired of listening. I let my mind just drift away. I let my mind just drift away. I secretly break all of the rules. Silently wait for you.
All right. Welcome, people of the internet. All right. Things are going live, I believe. Let me know how the audio levels are, if everything looks okay real quick as we're starting up here. Today's live stream is a special YouTube stream designed to teach you all about multi-channel networks, or YouTube networks as they're commonly referred to. So that is what we're doing today. I'm just making sure everything is working properly here. I have a crazy setup going on for this, so I just want to make sure everything's working. Nightbot's going kind of crazy in the chat, so I guess I apologize for that. Nothing I can do about it. Everything's good. Perfect. Just trying to make sure we get some people in here. I know this isn't the most optimum time to live stream, but those of you who are watching the VOD up on YouTube or whatever, stay tuned. Like, there's a lot jam-packed into today's live stream. So, yes, this will be a VOD. I will have the full, it'll probably be a couple hour long live stream up, and it will be a VOD. The way this is going to work is I've got some slides that I'm going to run through to talk about the topics that I'm talking about. I'm going to show you some examples from my desktop capture, and I'm also just going to chat with you guys at certain points. For the most part, Q&A should go at the end. If you have any specific serious questions and you want them to take a higher priority, that would be what Super Chat is for. Just saying. That will obviously bump your questions or messages to the top of the list. But beyond that, I'm going to stop at certain points and answer questions about the specific points I'm making. But the overall big picture Q&A will be at the end of the stream. I have a lot of actual talking points I want to get through and some actual, hopefully good information here. So I don't want to be interrupting like a normal Twitch stream and just being like, hey, thanks for following. Hey, thanks for this. Hey, thanks for that. I want it to be, I want the information to get out there so that everyone can learn something, and then I can spend some time answering questions at the end of the stream. And like I said, if you have a priority, super chat. Otherwise, I'll just try to keep up with the chat here. Hopefully this layout is good. Me next to the live chat. I thought it was pretty cool. It is about 1:03, so I guess we can get started. Yeah, I guess we're good. All right, let's jump in, shall we? All right, so today we're going to be talking about YouTube multi-channel networks, or just YouTube networks. These are MCNs, which that is what an MCN stands for, is a multi-channel network. That is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to talk about whether or not you should join one, what the implications of joining one actually are, what they currently do for you, what they don't do for you but might lie to you or tell you that they do for you, and those kinds of things. First and foremost, full disclosure, I did work for a multi-channel network for the past 4 years. I worked for Freedom, and I recently quit. I have a channel update coming soon to discuss the factors that went into that and how that might affect the channel. But it's not really affecting my judgment here. I just wasn't super able to talk about networks in a negative light while I worked for one. And so I'm finally able to fully put this together. I also sort of worked with / for the Yoush sub network way back in the day. I've been on YouTube since 2007, 2008, uploading videos, things like that, having a blast. And I've never really stuck with one channel until this EposVox channel. But I've been on YouTube for years, learning it, using it, chatting, being a viewer and an uploader. And I've worked with tons of channels when it comes to growing their channel and things like that. I've also been with about 4 different networks here on YouTube. So I have a lot of experience to hopefully kind of, bridge the gap between what you're told about networks and what is actually the case. So hopefully this can be pretty helpful. And again, make sure you let me know if the music's too loud, by the way. I want it to be just super quiet. Cap was with Yoush too. Yes. Those were way back in the days. All right. Now that disclosure's out of the way, who here in the chat has been in an MCN, is currently in a YouTube network, and do you know why you're in a network? Did you why did you join it? Why did you join the network? What were you hoping to get out of it? Are you getting what you want out of it? If you're in an MCN, put that in the chat. I want to hear or just see, generally how many people are in a network, and we can kind of judge whether or not that's actually the right thing for you to do. And chat died. Lol. Alright, I'm gonna switch back over here. I had to refresh my page here. Music's all good. Perfect. Anyone here actually in a network? I get a drink here while we're starting out. Used to be with Freedom, quit YouTube to pursue photography work. With Curse? Wow. Been with 3 different MCNs, kind of like myself. Nice. Okay, so we are going to cover some of the nuances of a network and all that in today's live stream. Yes, and because I had a problem with YouTube banning older channels, was hoping protection toward monetization. All right, so we're going to talk about what an MCN is and whether or not you should join it. MCN stands for multi-channel network, which literally just means a parent channel that manages multiple other channels through what they usually refer to as a CMS, which is a content management network, or content management system, my bad. The multi-channel network channel hub controls all of the content and the monetization of partnered channels through that network channel, and receives the YouTube earnings from them. Instead of going to to the creator's AdSense account, it goes to the network. Now, a couple obvious examples of networks: Maker Studios, Machinima, Curse, Freedom, Broadband TV, TGN, and so on. All right, so in order to understand whether or not you should even be in an MCN and whether or not you should benefit from it, you have to understand what the point of MCNs were back in the day. So we originally needed an MCN because for gaming channels and for channels that used royalty-free music and things like that. Because with the original YouTube partner program, you needed, first of all, you needed like 100K subscribers, or 100K views and things like that. They had like really strict requirements, but even if you got in, you couldn't directly monetize gameplay or, gameplay footage or royalty for your music or anything. YouTube had very strict rules, which is ironic considering like how things are now. but they had very strict rules regarding what you could monetize within the partner program because, believe it or not, gameplay footage does not count as fair use. Gameplay footage is not fair use at all. Instead, game publishers license that out for monetization in videos. So that is how Machinima was formed. Machinima was a really big channel, and they ended up working as a company directly with game publishers to get licenses to allow the channel to monetize gameplay footage. And then they were given that content management system within YouTube and became a network, and eventually was able to partner a few channels and give them the licenses to monetize their content. Then suddenly it was a huge deal. Obviously, today, we don't really need an MCN to monetize gameplay footage. Anyone can monetize videos now. And you don't need a specific network to monetize gameplay footage. Either you can or you can't, like with Nintendo content, and you'll just get content ID claims. They have very much worked out the details these days. And more importantly, being in a YouTube network does not allow you to monetize anything, gameplay footage, music, anything like that, that you otherwise wouldn't be able to monetize outside of the network. So, why would you join an MCN? Why would it be worth the percentage of revenue that they keep from you to join one in the first place? There is a lot of weird things when it comes to joining a network. A lot of people still have that kind of belief driven home in them that in order to make money on YouTube or to be a YouTube partner, you have to join an MCN. That's not necessarily true. That's not true at all. But that culture was created from the first generation of big YouTubers that got kind of embedded into everyone's thought process. And so that is kind of one of the, even though literally anyone can monetize, can become a YouTube partner, or can join an MCN, it became like that status symbol of, oh, I'm a partner with this network, and that's what people wanted, even though being a partner with the network doesn't necessarily mean anything in 2017. Alright, so let's talk about what an MCN will do and won't do for your channel. If you've received a recruiting letter or a recruiting email of someone trying to get you to join a YouTube MCN, you have probably been given super crazy, promises of what they can do for your channel. But not all of them are honestly remotely true. For example, a network will provide access to expensive music libraries such as Audio Micro, Epidemic Sound, things like that. They'll do that. That's pretty handy. They'll allow you to receive payments under the $100 AdSense threshold and allow you to receive it via PayPal, and some networks have other payment options, but PayPal is the main payment method. And they'll provide you with a basic support portal, which will allow you to, contact support team with issues. Whether or not that's useful or not, that's a different question, and we'll talk about that kind of in a minute. And then they do have quote-unquote opportunities to grow your channel or collaborate or what have you, but whether or not those are worth anything also kind of depends on your situation. What a network won't do, this is the things that they promise that they will do, but they actually won't do, are increase your CPM beyond $3 or $2-3 in the first place. They can't affect that, and we'll touch on that in a minute. They won't directly grow your channel in any way whatsoever. They won't promote you to anyone directly. They won't land you brand deals or sponsorships unless you're, a big channel in a specific network, and again, we'll elaborate in a moment. And they won't edit your videos for you. Myth number 1 about YouTube networks. Networks are here to grow your channel. False. Absolutely false. Networks are here to make money. They are for-profit companies designed to make money from your revenue shares. They are designed to take a chunk of your money and make money from it in order to pay their employees, to pay the licenses for the audio libraries, to generally make a profit. They are for-profit companies. While the underlying business model generally involves, hoping to make sure that your channel grows so that you continue to make more money for them, their number one goal is that every decision is to make more money for their network. Everything that they push forward is developed on a basis of, will it make money back for our company? If it doesn't do that, then they're not likely to go through with whatever decision. Now, some networks do give you an analytics dashboard or special reporting tools, as they call it. However, these aren't necessarily worth anything. If you're working for yourself on YouTube, the YouTube analytics that YouTube provides you is incredibly powerful. All the information you could ever need about your channel is there. It's there, and it is so cool. But it has a huge learning curve when it comes to actually using it and getting the most out of it, because it is a very complicated tool to use, and I can do some educational content on using that in the future. If you don't know how to use YouTube Analytics, I highly recommend heading over here to the YouTube Creator Academy and going through some of their videos about analytics. I don't know exactly. They have a bunch of different boot camps and things like that. Courses. Here we go. Analytics. Measure your success with YouTube Analytics. Go through this and go through anything that they give you about YouTube Analytics, because YouTube Analytics are extremely powerful, and they have more information than you could ever imagine about what your YouTube audience wants, what they're responding to, and what you can do to really grow your channel. Now, I did want to address a comment here. YouTube just recently, within the past 6 months or so, put in the 100K subscriber requirement for verification, so no one else can actually get verified under 100K. Some people, like myself and Hang and Bang Games, it looks like got lucky with that, but that's no longer doable. And any network that does do that is risking getting shut down over it, so don't pressure them for it. Anyway, networks can't give you any more information about your channel other than what's already in YouTube Analytics. They have access to the YouTube API to pull information from it, but that's all that, that's their only source of information. So they can't give you any more information than YouTube already gives you. And in most cases, most of the network's dashboards that they do provide you are nowhere near as good as just learning and using YouTube Analytics in the first place. Let's move on to myth number 2. They often, in the recruiting emails and when people talk about networks, they say you'll make more money in a network, either by having higher CPMs or by just them getting higher, better brand deals for the network. That is absolutely false. Despite any claims that they may have fed you, they have no control whatsoever over how much money your videos earn. They have no control over ad revenue. CPMs drop in January, they go high around Christmas, they vary, like currently they're super low due to the advertisers pulling out. The network has absolutely nothing to do with that. Now, if I did have an asterisk there, because if you are a huge channel, 500K subscribers or so, get a lot of views, and you're in a network designed for it, like Omnia Media is one example, then yes, they can work with your channel to develop specific brand packages and work directly with companies. But for the most part, if you are under, 500K subscribers, a network doesn't even know that you exist, and they're definitely not working with you to earn more money. And in fact, you are earning less money with a network due to the revenue share splitting, which again, we'll elaborate on in a few minutes. And again, they say you can earn more with higher CPMs, but they have no control over that. CPMs are determined by the ad rates that, advertisers actually put in on YouTube, on AdSense when they're purchasing ad buys, and based on advertising budgets for the quarterly, finances of that company. The network has no control over that. They can't affect it. So just keep that in mind, please. You cannot make more money in a network unless you're already established as like a really big channel. Myth number 3 that a network might tell you. You'll receive free promotion from an MCN. That is mostly false. Some networks do have like promotional shout out opportunities, and the network I worked for, Freedom, had a few of those. But for the most part, those aren't useful in the first place. Those are not things that you want to be a part of. They're not going to help your channel. They are just, sub for sub, basically, which isn't great. And if you get lucky, or if you're one of the top tier, you make really good content and your network notices you, then you have a chance to maybe get a little bit more promotion in the network. But for the most part, unless you're already established, MCN isn't going to do anything to promote your channel. That's just a flat out lie, to be honest. There are some promotion opportunities. Like I said, there are shout out series, but these are almost hurtful instead of helpful to a channel. They are shout out series. They are hey, let's review your channel with superficial advice and have a bunch of people go subscribe to you and say sub for sub, please. And that's about it. It doesn't work. It doesn't help you. It just leads to very spammy behavior. Now, some networks claim that they also have collaboration opportunities, which can be good. Those can be helpful. Those opportunities are kind of self-building, though. Those are things that you kind of have to build yourself, because a YouTube network can be a basis for a fantastic community, for, you know, a group of people in proximity to each other with something in common, be that the YouTube network, and then they meet each other, collaborate, and make a community or, you know, network together. By networking, you with other partners in the network through the network forums, through a network Discord chat, comment sections, Facebook groups, and so on, you can build up friends, collaboration partners, and so on, and suddenly have a group that you can play games with, that you can make videos with, that you can help, you know, cross promote each other's content, and that gives you a huge step up on people who are just trying to do it solo without any help. But they don't just sit there and like set you up with big, you know, they're not going to introduce you to PewDiePie and get you featured on PewDiePie's channel or anything like that. Myth number 4 about an MCN is that your channel is more quote-unquote protected in the MCN. Now, other than one little thing, which we're going to talk about, that Lagundo actually mentioned as we were talking about, you know, who is in an MCN, for the most part, that is absolutely false. So there are two types of partnerships you can get with a network. One is called managed and one is called affiliate, and we will talk about the difference of those in just a moment. But unless you are in a managed partnership, which is reserved for the top tier partners or those who work with the network itself, you get no protection. The default partnership that most people get, which is called an affiliate partnership, gets no protections. The automatic content ID, copyright strikes, and all that are automatically passed to your channel anyway. A managed CMS is protected from those things. A normal partnership is not. Now, there is one little nuance that you can sort of be more protected from, and that is actually in my buddy Lagundo's case, and he's sitting there chatting in the chat with us today. His older channel actually got banned from monetization because someone went and falsely clicked on a bunch of his advertisements while he was with normal AdSense, and his AdSense account got banned. Now, when you're in a network, that doesn't happen directly because, you know, it's not your AdSense account anymore. It's an entire network's AdSense account, and it's not immediately banned for false activity. Instead, the network and thus you are simply not paid for those false clicks. It's a little bit more of a protection, but I think nowadays they have fixed those issues with AdSense in the first place. So, what does a network really do for your channel? That's a good question, and we're going to talk about this. But first and foremost, I want to check in with you guys and see if you have any questions about the big myths that I have established so far. We'll answer what they do in response, you know, to those myths in just a moment. But I want to see if anyone has any major glaring questions so far. And once again, if you want a question at the top of the priority list, as I try to scroll through chat here, Super Chat will be the way to feature it. But for now, I'll just try to keep up with some of the questions. I've never heard of the network Studio 71. Smaller networks like Studio 71 or Omnia Media can be good, but again, you need to have a well-established channel anyway. It doesn't really help small YouTubers. How can I make the most of freedom? Take advantage of everything that they have available to you. That's pretty much it, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Studio 71 is a top-tier partnership. Yeah, not really super. I realize having a YouTube channel is a shit ton of work. Yep, it is it's more work than any like real full-time job, to be honest. Yep, someone got nightbotted. Lol. I understand you being nervous about that, Lagundo. Like, I would be too, which is why I haven't told you to just go for it. I just kind of want to be somewhat encouraging about things. All right. What's up, Farron OS developer? Thank you for hanging out. If you want the full context for what's going on, make sure you rewind the stream and start from the beginning. This is a full educational class, and we're making our way through the slides here, so I can't really repeat a whole lot of information. It's really hard to be on top of all this world of YouTube or working on this like a full-time job somebody works. That's why you have people like me to help keep you on top of things, like the algorithm changes and things like that. You just need to kind of keep up with other people doing. But for the most part, you don't need to keep. And by the way, guys, I'm not going to answer the same question over and over about what about this network. Almost all networks are the same. If it's a top tier network and you don't qualify for it, don't worry about it anyway. But the specifics of individual networks are never worth really discussing in this kind of context. But yes, YouTube is a ton of work. So let's discuss what a network really does for your channel. This is the most you can expect from just about any average YouTube network. You can get easy payments via PayPal below the $100 threshold that AdSense has for you. Though keep in mind that most networks nowadays for small channels have a delay of up to 2 months. That way they can use your YouTube revenue as funding to fund their company. Oh, Nightbot, chill out, man. Nightbot's like timing everybody out. I apologize. Let me see if I can adjust the spam protection there. I disabled excess caps. I do apologize. That was unfortunate. But yes, so networks can provide you with easier payment methods, through PayPal under $100. So if you're not making $100 from your channel yet, and you really, really need that money instead of just building it up in AdSense, that is one decent benefit. You do get access to decent-ish music libraries, such as Audio Micro, Epidemic Sound, and so on, through the, they pay for the license for it to affect your channel, which is nice, but most people have trouble, finding decent tracks. Like Audio Micro is super expensive, but it's really hard to find any really, useful music in Audio Micro. And Epidemic Sound only has some. Another thing that a network will provide you is a mediocre support portal if you have any major questions or issues. Keep in mind, most of the support staff aren't necessarily the most YouTube experienced, and they don't necessarily directly have contact with YouTube. So there will be a delay if you need some serious change with your channel for them to ping YouTube and work with you. And if you ask a question that is difficult to answer, it might get passed around and there could be delays and so on. Which, as Total Biscuit said in a recent audio blog talking about networks, when his entire career and life is based on this platform, needing questions answered through a support portal is not the way anyone wants to go. That's not comforting. All right, the legend of music. What about the tunes? A network provides me with tunes. Yes and no. First of all, YouTube provides you with music as well. Go to the Creator Studio, go down to Create, Audio Library. It's right there. Oh, look, music. Secondly, you can find your own, way of getting royalty-free music as well. And we'll talk about the finances of that in just a moment. But there is music provided by YouTube. There are other free sources to get royalty-free music, or you can license it yourself, often cheaper than what your network is taking out of your revenue. Now, the support portal is kind of a joke, in my opinion. We're going to check out a support portal here. So I'm going to pull it up here. Support. Let me pull it up on my desktop. I meant to have this freedom.desk. Nope. I don't know where my tab of it went. Ah, okay. So we're going to switch on over here to the Freedom support portal here. So this is what, a network support portal might look like. You have some FAQs and, some questions that get answered, which is great because most things that people submit support questions for are really stupid questions, to be honest. I worked for Freedom Support for a little bit. There's a lot of dumb questions that go through the support portal. So it's easier if people just kind of search for it themselves. But they don't necessarily make it super easy to actually, the only way to submit a ticket is up here in this tiny little link. And you have to make an account in order to check on it. Otherwise, if you do it this way, you're not always caught up with it. It's not the greatest process in the world, and I'm not a super huge fan of their support system in the first place. A way to figure out if a network is actually going to be responsive and help you with issues that you have is to come up with a genuine question about the network or about your partnership or even about your channel and send in a support ticket before even applying to the network. Find their support page, their support portal, send in a support ticket, and test their responsiveness. Because see, what happens is if something really goes wrong with your channel, if your videos get taken down maliciously, if your channel is terminated out of the blue, you don't want to be like 500 in line with a super slow or uneducated support staff when you really need help with your channel, because that could make or break the difference between actually like going somewhere with that channel and, you know, saving it if something really goes wrong. So you definitely want to test and make sure that they are responsive and useful before jumping in. Does anyone have any major questions about support portals or finding music before we jump into talking about the revenue split, which is a very complicated topic? Base Rebels offers good royalty-free music. Good to know. Yes, you do not need a MCN for music. There are loads of places. Now, I will say real quick here that I urge the utmost caution when using channels like No Copyright Sounds and other channels that claim to provide you with royalty-free music. Because what has happened in the past is artists who are not yet big, who have not yet been discovered, who do not yet have, you know, a huge following, will agree to have their channel put, or their music put on those channels to be distributed, but don't have like a formal written contract when it comes to future licensing and distribution. Then when they get big and sign with a bigger record label or whatever, all the videos that use the sound or that use the music get claimed anyway. And since there was no major contract put into place, and because you didn't directly license the music yourself, you as someone using the music from that royalty-free channel are now screwed. So I always urge the utmost caution when using those kinds of channels. They're not the most reliable sorts of things. There is places like Incompetech, bensound.com is one. There are options for finding your own royalty-free music. And like I said, we'll talk about the money part in a minute, but you can just go buy your own subscription to a royalty-free music site if you have one that provides good music and not have to give a network a cut of your money. Makes a lot more sense, in my opinion. Okay. Let's go back to... Oh. Suddenly my computer's beeping at me. Apologies. All right, let's talk about revenue splits and revenue sharing with a network. Because this is a super complicated topic, and apparently not a whole lot of people understand it, so then they get super mad when they don't get paid what they thought, or when they realize the network's taking a chunk of their revenue. So, your videos earn a specific amount of money from ad revenue. This is referred to as the RPM, which is like rate per mil or whatever. And so, your videos earn that directly from the advertisers. The ad plays, people click on them, advertisers pay YouTube, and that is the money that your videos own. But YouTube takes 45% of what your videos own before you ever see it. You never see this number. You never hear about this other 45%. So like if your channel makes $600, you're instead only getting like, you know, $350 or something like that. And that's all you hear about. So YouTube takes that 45% off the top. This is usually not counted into consideration when you discuss a MCN partnership, because basically after that 45%, the rest goes to you, and that's referred to as the 100%. So YouTube takes 45% of the revenue, and then that chunk is displayed. Whatever is left, that 55%, is shown in your YouTube analytics, and that is what is passed on to an MCN. So then your MCN takes anywhere from 20 to 50% based on your contract. For example, Freedom's default is a 60-40 split, so they take 40% of that. Curse's default is like 90%, so they only take 10% of that revenue. But your MCN takes a cut of what you have left. So first you lose 45% to YouTube, then you lose another 20 to 50% for your network, and then you're left with what's left. So here is the ad revenue that your video makes. This is all of the money that advertisers pay for ads run on your video, right here. This is your ad revenue. YouTube takes a cut of minus 45%. So then you're only left with 55% of the money earned for your video that you could possibly make. You join a network takes a cut, they take another 20 to 50% of that. So then you're left with either, the 60 to 40% of what's left. And then you get very little because your network's taking a lot of your money. Alternatively, if you don't join a network, you're left with whatever is left after YouTube takes a cut, which sounds a lot better, which is why when you're in an AdSense, a direct YouTube partnership instead of with a network, it's referred to as a 100% revenue share because you get everything after YouTube takes their cut. You get the full 100% of whatever is left. And that's why it's referred to as a 100% revenue split, and that's generally the best financially. With an MCN, you're paying a percent of your revenue in exchange for services. Look at that and think about that for a minute, because this is super important. Just really think about it. This is your relationship with your network. You are paying them a percentage of your revenue, a percentage of the money your videos make for services. Now, think about the network that you're in. Think about the network that your channel is in and whether or not you are getting what you consider to be, good enough services from that network. Do you? Is it worth the percentage of your revenue that you're making? And is it worth it? Are you getting good services from your network? Otherwise, why are you in the network? And that percentage of your revenue scales with your earnings instead of being a flat fee, because it's a percentage. It's not, $9 per month or $10 per month or anything like that. It is a percentage. So if your channel makes $100 a month and you're paying 40% of that to a network, you're losing $40. If your channel is making $10 per month, you're losing $4. So a network with a 60-40 split may make more sense when you're only making $10 per month because you're only paying $4 a month for, music services, music licenses and things that would cost you way more than that. But by the time your channel's making like $200 per month, suddenly you're paying them way more and it's not worth it anywhere near as much. Now let's discuss the specifics behind, paying for music yourself. For example, if you wanted a license with Epidemic Sound, which is a library provided by many networks, that is only $15 a month. Monster Cat is only $20 a month. And if you want the proper package, you have to pay all at once. So it's like $200 per 20 months. If you want audio blocks, it's more expensive at $99 a year. But if you want audio micro, it's like $500 per month. It's pretty ridiculous. So audio micro is a good, if you use it heavily, it's actually a good value from a network. But, most people don't honestly use audio micro that much. So look at this and consider how much the network is taking from you. For example, as soon as I left Freedom, I paid for 20 months of Monster Cat because that's cheaper than the money that the network was taking from me from my revenue split. $20 per month is much less than my network was keeping, and that's pretty much all I was using for the network was those audio libraries. Makes a lot more sense to pay for it yourself after a certain point. And you get more control over what you get because you can then go pay for specific services that the network doesn't offer and be able to really get exactly what you need and be able to justify it financially because there isn't some other company taking a percentage of your revenue. You are spending it as a business expense and writing it off on taxes as a business expense. Now, there is a difference between small channels and big channels when choosing a network, and that is something very, very important to consider when choosing a network, because it works very differently. As I mentioned before, there are two different types of partnerships. There's an affiliate partnership and a managed partnership. A managed partnership is pretty much reserved for the top tier YouTubers, whereas affiliate is given to just about everyone. And there are stark differences. And basically, a network will sell you on a network. Whitelisting is $5 a month. No, it's $5 a month for Twitch, I believe. For YouTube, it's $20 a month. They have different tiers for different platforms. And then gold status is another $5 a month on top of that. But yes, so a network will sell you on a partnership with their network based on the terms in their managed CMS, based on a managed partnership. But you won't be getting a managed partnership. You'll be getting an affiliate partnership. but they'll tell you all the good things that you can get, like content ID and all this good stuff that you can get as a managed partner. But when you actually join the network, you're not there yet. And they're like, oh, you can work your way up to it. No. So with an affiliate partnership, which again is the standard partnership that anyone gets, the network has some control over your channel. They just have basic access to your channel and to your videos. And they have control over your payments. That way they receive your payments and they give you, my words are failing me. They give you, the percentage of the money back to you via PayPal. However, there is no protection in play. All automated content ID claims, copyright strikes, demonetization policies, everything like that runs on an automated basis is still applied directly to your channel. The network wants no part of it. They don't want to deal with it. So all of those things that could affect your video is applied directly to you, and then it's still your job to deal with YouTube and get those taken care of. So why again? Why with the network? Now, if you're a big channel or you're somehow lucky and you're with a managed partnership with a network, and it'll actually say managed in your CMS listing in your YouTube channel, the network has full control over your channel and payments, which means that they will literally they'll literally have control over whether or not ads are shown and things like that. But it protects you from those automated processes. So you won't get automated content ID claims on your videos unless someone manually does it. You won't have automated copyright strikes that are applied just with an algorithm, and you won't have demonetization run on your channel. Now, these can still be applied to your channel if someone goes directly to one of your videos and says, hey, that's my content, and claims it, but the automated algorithmic processes are not run on your channel. All of those must be filed manually, and then they affect the network itself. Like a managed partnership, the network is taking responsibility for your channel. So if something happens to that channel, it happens to the network at the same time. So a network is going to be way more likely to actually, try to work it out. A specific, interesting tidbit with this is Total Biscuit, which is a big gaming coverage, PC games coverage YouTuber, and Jim Sterling, which is also a big PC games coverage YouTuber. Jim Sterling constantly gets automated copyright strikes and content ID claims that he must fight with, whereas Total Biscuit does not. Total Biscuit used a lawyer and negotiated his way up to a managed partnership, whereas Jim Sterling's in an affiliate one. Jim Sterling has to deal with a lot more, and his network is a lot more, less likely to deal with it. Whereas if Total Biscuit gets a copyright strike, his network is going to go fight that for him because it hurts the network as much as it hurts him. Very interesting difference in the partnerships. So a managed partnership will offer you a ton of protection, a ton of benefits, and really make your channel secure. And hilariously, I actually left a managed partnership to go AdSense full time. But that is the protection that your channel might get in a network. If you're, under 100,000 subscribers or you're not a big fish to your network, you're not going to get that. And your network isn't going to be as likely to help you with those issues. All right. Now, networks don't have to be bad. Networks actually can do really good things for you, and there are a couple really small closed doors networks that do a good job. But this, in my opinion, is what a network should do and what you should look for when choosing a network. A network should provide lots of educational resources that help you learn and grow. Training materials, educational videos, videos that show you how to tag video or tag your own videos, videos that show you the back end of YouTube and strategy. They teach you how to do well on YouTube. A network should also have direct partner managers that work with every single channel. And this is another thing that network recruiters used to lie about a lot, is they'd say that we have partner managers available, but those partner managers only work with the top tier channels. Partner managers should be available for one-on-one help for every partner, in my opinion. And if that means that the network has too many partners for that to be managed, the network shouldn't have that many partners. That's the network's fault, not the partner's fault. Don't take it out on the partners because you decided to open your network to everyone. Networks should work to establish brand deals with individual channels regularly. Even if the network takes 5% of that revenue to help make up for it or something, networks should be working to establish brand deals and sponsorships directly for individual partners, not just affiliate link signups. The network should establish communities based on specific niches in their network and provide collaboration tools for them. This means hub channels based on different content types. This means forums, Discord groups, Steam groups, TeamSpeak chat, anything that can bring people together and provide tools for them to be able to collaborate and make videos together. The network should be establishing those themselves. The network should also be grouping these communities into sellable packages for bigger ad buys across the network. Big networks can do this with big partners. Used to, that was actually a big thing, was a company could sit here, like, let's say Halo wanted to sponsor my channel. A Halo could, or 343 Microsoft, whatever, could purchase every ad spot on my channel. They could purchase the pre-roll ad, the in-video ad, the display banner ad, everything. They could purchase that all on a, specifically for my channel. Networks should be grouping channels into groups based on content types and subscribers and things like that, so that company and sell them to companies for those specific types of ad buys. That is super important, and no company, no network really does that anymore. Now, finally, a couple networks are finally starting to change, and I'm hoping it will be a good thing. You may have heard that Maker Studios basically fired all of their partners. They fired 59,000 partners from their network. They said that they're taking a more targeted approach as a network, and essentially what they're doing is, instead of being a pyramid scheme where they're just making money off of those 60,000 partners they had, they are actually trying to be an ad agency. They're going to work directly with the partners to grow their channels and to buy ad spots and advertise them to advertisers, to advertise them across YouTube, sell AdWords credit, things like that. We don't know 100% how well it'll go yet, but the ideal is that they are basically becoming an ad agency for those channels to help work on an individual basis to sell those channels and to help them grow, which is super freaking great, and what more networks should do, because that's what networks should be. They shouldn't be a company that basically sits on all these channels making money from them and then doing nothing for them. They should be a company that works to build up the channel. Otherwise, don't pay them your fucking money. Pardon my French. So this is the ideal network. You may have heard of it. It was only talked about a couple years ago, and it's no longer looking like it's going to be a thing. But the company that CNanners, Syndicate, and a couple other big YouTubers formed, called 3 Black Dot, had announced that they were going to launch a YouTube network. This network was called Jetpack, and this was their monetization model. Instead of taking a % of your revenue, they were going to charge a flat fee each month based on your needs and based on your budget. For example, the basic partnership, $9.99 per month, you get these options. You get the easy billing. You get, you only have to notify 7 days in advance instead of 30 days in advance to leave the network. You get some brand deal integration, you get better reporting in the back end, and they get a little bit of help. But they don't take a cut of your revenue. They just take that $9.99 per month, and then you keep all the actual ad revenue from the YouTube videos. Then if you had, if you paid the $100 tier, you got some better reporting tools, you got direct one-on-one email support, and then you actually had assistance when it comes to content ID claims and copyright strikes. Direct help with those issues. And then if you were a really big channel and wanted to pay the $300 per month tier, you get all the previous features, but you get direct phone support. You get to be a managed channel, no monetization review, which means you're basically getting skipped for content ID and all that jazz. And you get a one-on-one account manager to help grow your channel. This was a fucking fantastic monetization model. It was the best. But I think YouTube basically saw it essentially as selling partnerships, selling that managed CMS. Even though, in my opinion, this is how networks should be, it's a gray area with YouTube in that it seems like they're selling the partnerships, which is a big no-no to them. So it ended up not happening. It sucks. But to me, that was the ideal YouTube network. And I can't wait to find another network that does that. Because instead of giving this like super scaling, always increasing as you make more money percentage of your revenue, you're just paying a flat fee for a company to help you grow. That's it. It was a great model, in my opinion. We're going to talk briefly about specific networks, but only a couple just to show a couple examples. So Curse is a great gaming network that I generally recommend to anyone that wants basically just to keep more of their money and have some basic benefits. They have a 90% revenue share, which means they only take 10% of your revenue. They have access to some of the basic music libraries like Epidemic Sound. And they have, as a company, they have some really cool tools for gaming programs. So that's kind of cool. But they do have view requirements to join. You do have to have specific requirements in order to join the network, which means that they're filtering out all the bad eggs and all the newbies, but you may not fit just yet, so you may have to wait to join them. Freedom is the one that I worked for, so I have a little bit more information about them. Anyone can join, but this is not necessarily a good thing because they are constantly getting in trouble. For example, I left in the middle of them doing a full review of every single channel they had partnered because their channel invite tool was suspended because they had too many channels joining the network that were breaking rules and things like that. I don't consider an open to everyone network actually a good thing. They only had a 60% default revenue share, which means they kept 40% of your revenue. But they did have access to some pretty cool music libraries, and then their quote-unquote sponsorship tools were just a bunch of affiliate pages, just a bunch of affiliate sign-up pages, which weren't super beneficial, in my opinion. Omnia Media is one that I heard of, and that, depending on what kind of revenue share they want to offer, at some point I may transition over to if they ever invite me. It's an invite-only network, which means it's very small, and they pick who they want to join. But they work directly with the partners to get brand deals and sponsorships. I actually work with the people over at Valve Guides and Ultra Guides, and that network is who lands them a lot of their in-video advertising and makes them a lot of freaking money. However, they just recently had a staff member who was in charge of this, ran off and stole a bunch of money with the brand deals, and so that's kind of shady. Like they couldn't get any more brand deals while they waited on the network to hire a new person in that position. That was a little weird. Then you have the big corporate networks. Broadband TV, TGN's a part of Broadband TV, and Fullscreen. They are big corporate networks, which means that they have good financial backing and aren't going to vanish anytime soon. And they generally have quicker support staff because they have a lot of people paid full-time to immediately respond to support tickets. But they're not very hands-on. They have some neat opportunities, but unless you're a really big channel to get on their radar, they're not going to, do a whole lot of direct work or help with you to really grow your channel. And that can be a problem for some people. Some people need direct hands-on coaching. These big networks won't help you. I will say my gaming channel was with Fullscreen for a few years because Fullscreen is the network that Yaush was in beforehand. While I was with that network, I had a bunch of false flags on my Let's Play episodes, saying that they violated community guidelines and getting them taken down. Those weren't true, and Fullscreen didn't do a damn thing to help me get those videos restored. Until literally after I already put in my unlink request, I had another false strike come through, and it actually terminated my channel. And within like 5 minutes of me emailing them, the channel was back online, and they contacted YouTube and got it fixed. But they still couldn't fix restoring my older videos, and they couldn't even tell me why. Like, they wouldn't even talk about it. They just refused to be helpful about that. But they did save my channel from termination. So, So, in my opinion, why should you, or should you in the first place, join AMCN? This is my opinion here. Not necessarily the end all be all. But my default opinion, my blanket opinion is just no. Like, unless you have a specific reason to join a network, like you absolutely need to get that money, maybe. If you have specific benefits that they are going to offer you, maybe. If you're joining a big network like Omnia, or I guess that Studio 71 that someone brought up, that is going to work directly with you to coach you and to, get you brand deals, and someone who's already been in the network and you can verify that that's what is going to happen, yes. Here's the thing. You need to read your contract. You need to negotiate your contract. If your channel is of any decent size, you need to have a lawyer negotiate your contract, because otherwise you are screwed if the network lied to you about what they can do for you. So you need to negotiate a 30-day trial, and if they aren't within that first 30 days, hands-on helping you grow your channel, you need to leave. And in my opinion, never join a lock-in contract network in the first place unless you're established and they're offering you the best shit ever and you already know that they actually deliver on that. If you don't know whether or not they deliver on it, don't do it. But first, I want to talk to the smaller YouTubers here. Please, small YouTubers, stop thinking about the money. Just stop. You are killing your channels. This is going to be a little bit of a ramble moment here for a minute. But I worked for Freedom for 4 years. I was in their Discord server. I interacted with hundreds upon hundreds of the smaller YouTubers in that network. And so many of them were so concerned about what network they were in and how much money they were making when their channels were only making like $20 a month. Stop that right now. Okay, so I was part of, I was around on YouTube when the monetization, but then the partnership program was pretty, you had to work your way up to it in the first place. So I have a little bit of an old man perspective. But if you work, I want to say this the right way. If you're worried about money and your channel is making less than the AdSense $100 threshold, stop worrying about money. Just build it up in your AdSense and wait for it to get paid off or paid to you. Like, okay, so a lot of YouTubers have this perspective that there is a difference between doing YouTube for fun and doing it for the money. And I don't believe in that general argument because I run my channel as a business, but it's something that I'm passionate about more than anything in the world. And so I am doing both. I'm doing it for fun and for the money. So I don't necessarily agree with that argument, but there are so many YouTubers who will literally stop posting to their channel until they figure out their network situation and just not actually do YouTube stuff because they are so worried about how much money they're making. They're so worried about getting their payments. They're so worried about joining the network just so they can get like $20. And they're under 18 in the first place, so legally they shouldn't even be getting paid for that money. If you stop posting videos to your channel, then because you're switching networks, you have literally killed your channel. The number one rule on YouTube is consistency. Regardless of if YouTube stops making money entirely for like a period and it's not going to last forever, or your network screws up or something, you need to keep posting. Stop worrying about money because by worrying about it, you are literally preventing yourself from making money. I could have probably outlined that better, but really frustrating. And again, as I said before, if you're a large YouTuber and you're joining a YouTube network, you need to have a lawyer thoroughly vet a contract and work out custom terms. Lawyers cost money, but they don't cost as much money as you might lose from getting stuck in a really shitty contract or having things stolen from a network. Have a lawyer vet the contract and negotiate custom terms. Manage CMS, 30-day pull-out period, and so on. Negotiate the freaking terms. And there is an audio blog up on SoundCloud I have linked in the description below from Total Biscuit where he talks more in depth about this, and I definitely recommend listening to it and heeding his advice. Finally, never, ever, ever sign a lock-in contract, especially if it's less than a 90% revenue share. There is no reason in 2017 to sign a lock-in contract. Those are just pure scams, and if it's below that revenue share, you're getting scammed and ripped off anyway, so you're going to be stuck for probably multiple years if you sign that contract. Don't do it. We're going to keep talking about money here for a minute because I see a nice debate going on in the comments. Laguno says you can't not consider it though. If you want a channel to be successful, it needs to be somewhere in your mind. Growing a channel costs money. It needs to come somewhere. Growing a channel doesn't need to cost much money at all and to get to the point of actually making decent enough money. I'm talking about if you're making less than $100 per month. You haven't put in the time. Here's the thing. For me, growing a YouTube channel means getting the highest ROI return on investment out of everything you do as possible for as long as possible. With the most basic setup, you can get, your first 100 videos out of the way. Here's the thing. Most YouTubers that are small and worrying about money have not made 100 videos. If you have not made 100 videos, you have zero experience on YouTube and you're nowhere near the point of even finding success. Your first 100 videos will be the worst videos you ever make, and those are the stepping stones to actually figuring out where you're going. I'm talking about the bare bones beginner YouTubers who have less than 1,000 subscribers who are freaking out about how much money they're making. If you are not, already, or, you've already found a consistent show or niche that you're focusing on, you haven't made 100 or 1,000 videos, you haven't been doing it for over a year, unless your channel just blew up, there is no reason to be freaking out about money yet from a channel. And Laguno says you need games, capture cards, lights, mics, and so on. Yes, but if you are at that point in your channel's not making that money back. So freaking out about earning $5 instead of $20 is not going to help you fund your channel anymore. You need to make videos with what you have until you're earning it. Yes, you're at 700 videos now. You're way further past the point that most people that I'm talking to here are talking about. You are now in the middle tier channel. You are not a high tier channel, or a small YouTuber, Laguno. But yes, never sign a contract, especially if it has less than 90% revenue share. Otherwise, you're literally being robbed. All right, now it's the Q&A time. Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and rant about the second point real quick. The best alternative to a YouTube network is a solid YouTube coach. Is instead of spending literally 40% of your entire channel's revenue for the next year or so on a network that's just going to provide you basic resources, you should pay a flat fee or a single one-off fee to a direct YouTube coach. And this is the kind of self-promotion-y time in that I do that. I will be a YouTube coach for plenty of people. And if you want to schedule a call to figure out what we can do within your budget to help you grow, I do very detailed channel reviews. I do very high-level, in-depth coaching to help figure out what you need to do with your channel. I think BBK is still in the chat. I've done a lot with him. I've worked a lot with Lagundo. I do a lot to help coach people's channels along the way. We can work within whatever budget you have to figure out something that will work with you. That is a much better option than paying a YouTube network to pretend to help grow your channel and possibly hurt your channel. And like I'm assuming it's a coincidence and that there's no correlation, but my views have almost have gone up like a ridiculous amount since leaving the network. I feel like the network somehow was affecting my video discovery. Probably a coincidence, but was still pretty funny. So in my opinion, you need to find a YouTube coach, whether it's me or not, or an ad agency to invest your money into instead of a network. You need to find someone who's going to work with you one-on-one to strategize, to develop content ideas, because random gaming videos is not a content strategy that will take you anywhere in life, and things like that. So if you are interested, we can shoot me a message on Twitter or questions@eposvox.com. Actually, I will do that. questions@eposvox.com. Shoot me an email. We will schedule a meeting. We will schedule a free call to just talk about your needs and your budget, and we will work something out, and I will do that with you to help coach your channel. Otherwise, a network isn't going to be what you need. So it is now Q&A time. If you guys have questions about networks, joining networks, things like that, please leave them. I'm not going to answer OBS questions. It's based on your budget, Spy Guy. It's not, I don't have flat rates, so we'd have to talk directly in email if you like, and we can talk about what you have available to work with or what you're looking for in the first place. But if you have questions about MCNs, joining MCNs, what an MCN can do for you, anything having to do with a YouTube network, let's chat about it in the chat. I will not be answering OBS questions. I will not be answering how can I grow my channel questions here. This is purely MCN talk today. I will be doing more of these YouTube classes in the future, so spread the word or make sure you stay tuned. I'll try to schedule them in advance like I did with this one. And these full VOD of this will be up on YouTube immediately following the stream, so you can check that out as well. But this is the time to get your questions answered if you have them. So yes, shoot me an email, questions@eposvox.com, if you want to, get that kind of stuff. One MCN get your CPM higher. You must have missed the first part of the stream, because let me go back here in my slides. I specifically made sure I harped on that quite a bit. I'm trying to rewind my slides here. Myth number 2 about YouTube networks. A network will never earn you more money. Your CPMs have zero control, or, your network have zero control over CPMs. If they ever say that, that's an absolute lie. They have nothing to do with how much ad revenue your videos earn. Absolutely a myth. A lie, not true. So no, Gumbino, absolutely not true. And it looks like Lagundo's vouching for my advice here. So I appreciate that. Yes, EposVox, cutting through the bullshit. If you have your CPM higher, you have no control over that either. Like, that is not something within your control. You can monitor it, but it is not something you need to try to have an impact on because you do not control your CPM. Your CPM is controlled by your content niche. For example, gaming videos often make less CPMs than other kinds of videos. So it depends on the saturation of how many people are posting videos in your niche. The month of the year, for example, January is always much lower than November and December. Excuse me. Currently a bunch of big advertisers pulled out, so currently CPMs for everyone are just like plummeted. So it's not something you have a control over. Yes, MCNs can add premium ads and do ad buys if they are a big reputable network and you have like 500k subs. If you're in their what they call the premium partner program, they can do that. It's not super common anymore, and again, it's reserved for the top tier, but it is possible. But for 99% of YouTube partners, doesn't happen. Robocat asks, if you are stuck in a lock-in contract, can you make a new channel and transfer your videos? Well, no. Like, no. You can make a new channel, but then you're starting from scratch. And trust me, I did this when I tried to leave full screen the first time. No matter how many videos I've made saying, hey, I made a new channel, please come subscribe to my new channel. Hey, please come. Hey, I'm over here now. Hey, guys, your subscribers won't follow you. Like, they won't care. You'll get 5% conversion, which if you have 100 subscribers is 5 people. Like, your viewers will not come over. Now, you do have the ability to go into your YouTube dashboard and request an unlink if you're not in a managed partnership, and it will forcibly unlink you after 30 days. But if you're in a serious, like, legal contract, they can sue you for it. Now, a lot of the networks won't, and if you've been in the contract for a few years, you're probably good, but you do have that option. Is joining the Social Blade Network a good idea? They show off network videos on the site. If you want a 1 in 5,000 million chance of getting highlighted on their page, sure, but their network is pretty generic from what I can tell, and they're not going to have any significant benefits over any other network. So if you really need to join a network and their revenue share is okay, then sure, but they don't have anything special. Okay, Gumbino, if you're in like a specific closed up network, they can see you later, Lagundo. They can probably sell higher YouTube ads, but generally speaking, that's not a thing anymore. But for super closed up networks, I'd be curious privately what network that is, but it's possible your network is probably doing something good if you're managed. But for most people, no. Johnny Canal asks, question, can I monetize gaming videos with AdSense? I consider leaving my network. Yes. Again, content ID. Okay, here's the thing about monetizing gaming content. Gaming content is not fair use. That is a myth. They're not fair use in the slightest. 90% of publishers are A-okay with you monetizing gaming videos. And a network does not affect this. The network does not enable you to monetize any more gaming videos than being with AdSense would. So you're still going to get content ID claims on Nintendo videos. And if you have certain game music in the background of your video, like GTA 5 radio or orchestral music created for the game, those can still get claimed, and there's nothing you can do about that. But actual just normal gameplay footage, absolutely. You can monetize directly with AdSense, no problem. Just dropped you an email. Thank you, Spy Guy. Biggest myth takeaway from today's stream, newer creators, MCNs will not accelerate your growth. The only MCNs that for growth are 200k plus subs. Yes, you are correct. Ross Curry, you just missed basically the entire educational stream, so I recommend rewinding back to the beginning and starting over or waiting for the VOD in an hour or so. I'm at the end in the Q&A session. Big thing about why MCNs, or what MCNs are, whether or not you should join them. Lots of in-depth good stuff here. I hope everybody learned something. Like, I hope this was informative, and let me know if you want to see more of these. I have a lot of ideas of these specific in-depth topics that I can go all in on and do full live streams, to help educate on. So if you enjoyed this, do let me know and make sure you stick around for more. And if you want to have a direct one-on-one coach and you have a little bit of a budget, shoot me an email, questions@eposvox.com. I am noticing I did not get an email from Spy Guy, so that's not good. Hang on, let me test the email myself. Love your channel, help me a lot, especially your OBS tutorial. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to shoot an email to myself. Questions@eposvox.com. It should be working. Test. Send. Should I leave Freedom or should I stay? If you feel you're getting your benefits from the percent of revenue, you just got an email undeliverable notice. God damn it. Okay. That would explain it. I don't know why the alias isn't working. Adam@EposVox it is. Oh, I just got an email from myself with the questions@EposVox. I don't know why it's not working for you. Okay. Well, I probably just missed. I need to scroll up. @VOD. Can I mention? Nope. Can I? @VIOU. Adam@EposVox. I just got an email from myself testing it from Gmail, so it should work, but there you go. But yes, if you are in Freedom and you feel like you're getting your benefits, like, you know, if you really use those music libraries, or your, or if the sound is off, that's YouTube. YouTube's processing always, like, desyncs things. It's nothing I can control. I'm looking at it right now. Everything is in sync, so it's not on my end. But if you feel like you're getting your revenue shares worth out of really using those music libraries or communicating in the forums or stuff, negotiate a higher revenue share as your channel grows. But if you don't feel like you're getting your money's worth, then go ahead and leave. That's your decision. Okay, you sent it to the correct email. Let me make sure that comes in. I've had some issues with my domain email in the past, but it should be fixed now. Just sent you an email. Okay, so 2 people saying they're sending me an email. I'm sorry for the awkwardness. I'm waiting to make sure I actually get it before I, like, let these people go, and then they never get a reply from me because the email doesn't work or something. Alright, still waiting for those emails to come in. I'm not getting notified. That's not a good sign. Oh, I just got one. Okay. Okay, I got Spy Guy's email, so that's working. Okay, so if... I will add that to the Google Doc, by the way, if you want to hit me up. vox.com/consult. There we go. I added to the page. The EposVox consult page. Okay. Can you do one of these for streaming tips? I do have some videos going with streaming tips that I have planned. But, yes, I got your email, Nick. That worked. I got Nick's email, and I got Spy Guy's email. I did not get an email from Tyler Edwards. So, didn't... Yeah, it's run through GoDaddy, which then uses Office 365, so the aliases only seem to work half the time, apparently, which I did not realize, and then I didn't get Tyler Edwards' email. But yeah, so that's it. So if no one else has any questions about MCNs, that will pretty much wrap up today's stream. Again, check out the VOD if you missed the start of it, as there was a lot of information jam-packed in here, and I'm not about to repeat all of it. But if anyone has any actual questions, I will be happy to answer here in the last remaining... few minutes of the stream. I have some time to hang out, but, gotta have actual questions to answer here. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and learning a little bit about MCNs. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, and hopefully that this helped make a decision regarding whether or not you join one. And more importantly, here's the thing. I am not here, or, I didn't do this to tell you to not join a YouTube network. If that's what you want to do, if that's absolutely what you want to do, and you feel like you can get something out of it, by all means, go ahead. My goal here is to inform you about what really you will really get from a YouTube network and what you should look out for in terms of red flags and what you should negotiate if you're working with an actual contract. I'm not here to tell you, oh, don't join a YouTube network. Networks are scam. That wasn't the point of this. The point was just to let you know what you should expect with a network. So I hope I achieved that here today. And I hope everyone had a good time. Tyler just sent his email. Waiting to get that. Also, the Outlook inbox is always super delayed too. That's annoying. But hope everyone has a great Tuesday and a great rest of your week. And again, I stream 3 days a week over at twitch.tv/EposVox. So if you haven't followed there, EposVox. I do stream 3 days a week, game streaming on Twitch. So please come follow that. Let me know, or come follow that. I'm almost approaching 1K subscribers over on Twitch. I'm super freaking stoked. Do game streaming 3 days a week. Come hang out with me there as well. Ross Curry says, I was looking at your playlist the other day trying to find your YouTube tips list. I do have a YouTube tips playlist. It's not called #learn to YouTube. That's a new thing specifically for these streams, but I do have, hang on, I'll pull the playlist up here for you. I know I have a ton of playlists, so it's a little hard to... it's big. It is Adam at EposVox. Apparently the questions one isn't working. I mean, generally just comment on the videos you're watching or whatever. I can't spend a ton of time answering like general questions. But at Ross Curry, there you go. There's my YouTube tips playlist. All of my YouTube educational content there. Still have not gotten Tyler's email. I'm kind of stalling to make sure that comes through. Who knows? My email's super delayed, so I'm sure I'll get it. Epos will have a heart attack with my questions. Well, that's not good. Alright, but yes, hope everyone has a great rest of your week. I have not gotten your email yet, Tyler. So I don't know what's happening there. If you want to forward it to EposVox@gmail.com, I guess you can forward it there, but I have not gotten your email yet. I don't know what's going on with it, but I don't have a send and receive button. It's Outlook 365 on the web. There is no send and receive button like on the desktop client. That's an old school Outlook thing. Alright, well, hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and I will see you later. I actually didn't set up a slide hotkey for this, so we'll do this. Haha! Thanks for watching, everybody.